Hey y'all, my name is Jasmine Jones. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and you are now watching Black Girl, a Therapist in the Wild. And today, this is a little show that I like to call Therapist Sips and Reviews, and we are reviewing Euphoria Season 2, Episode 8. All my life, there has been a thing that I've yearned for that I cannot name. I think that's how you say it. Hopefully it's close. It was a long poetic title, per usual. And I'm sipping on vodka and the last of the Sunny Delight. Yes. So right. This is old. But hopefully there's still enough people that are vibing that will vibe with my review even though it's old. There you go. Yes. So we are in the second half of Lexi's play, and we're going through like Fez's situation, a little bit of Nate's situation, Cassie's situation, and Rue. And Cassie about to go up on the stage and beat that ass. So let's start with her since she started everything off. She set it off. We'll get to Fez and Nate and Rue and everyone else eventually. Okay. So Cassie is stomping down them steps, girl, and she collides on stage and starts yelling and screaming and beating up the actors and actresses and calling Lexi out and calling her all kinds of bitches and hoes and all this other stuff. I feel like she's justified in her anger, and it really made me think about like how the way artists will use other people's stories and their stories because their story is a part of the artist's story. And it's hard to not talk about someone else's story when telling your own story. That's why they rename folks or they get actors that look a little bit different or whatever. But it's still impactful. It's still hurtful. I feel like Cassie had a right to be mad that her family business was out there in the streets and she was out there looking crazy. Now, for most of the play, it looked like it was just, some growing up hijinks and whatever, but then we get to this part where Cassie's on the unicorn.
That's it! Oh my god, I just love fucking everything! No! I'm gonna fucking kill you! Get the fuck off me! You fucking bitch! I'll fucking kill you!
Riding it up and down, and yeah. And then Cassie screamed her own mess on the stage too, talking about does whatchamacallit cheat on whatchamacallit's boyfriend? I forgot the names that this child gave these actors and actresses and all this other stuff. So
Lexi, is this the part of the play where I steal Jake from Marta?
No, Cassie, that's not in the play.
she basically said that she stole Maddie's boyfriend on the stage. So she called out some of her own mess. And then her sister put a little bit of her mess on the stage with little, Ferris wheel horsey and how she had an orgasm on it. I think half of that was drugs. Half of that is sometimes you just have a highly arousable body. We'll get to that when we talk about Nate, because I found that to be really interesting. So, but really Cassie's mad because Nate broke up with her. If Nate hadn't broke up with her, she probably would be chill about this whole play. She doesn't care. And I feel like if she cared because they were putting her business out in the street and she didn't want it out in the street, that would be one thing. She still shouldn't have stormed the stage and started fighting people. But, I still could see the justifiability of being upset. Like if Rue had turned out to be upset that this child done put her grief out into the world for the whole school to see, then I would have been like, that's justified. Why are you telling Rue's story? Yes, it's your story, but at the same time, it's like, So it's like, even like people do impact people and become a part of their story. We become enmeshed in each other's stories. It's just, I think it's justified when somebody's mad about it. Like, why are you? It's like The Best Man. You basically, whoever's seen The Best Man, I'll probably do a video on The Best Man, the first one, because the second one, I just feel like, why did they have to kill her off? She didn't have to die. She was the nicest one in the group and you killed her. I don't care. She slept with her man's best friend and shit. They wasn't together. But no. It's like The Best Man. Y'all old heads out there. I don't even like saying, I'm not old. I'm not old. Fuck y'all. if you've seen The Best Man, I'll put like, a little thing so to remind the children, if y'all haven't seen it, it's a decent movie. But you got this wedding happening, and this dude writes a book about his life. And in that book, he's renamed a bunch of people, but they all know who they are. He's the best man of the wedding. He's getting married. His best friend is getting married. And he puts in the fucking book that he fucked his best friend's wife in college one time. And it's just like, why was that necessary to your story? I'm just confused. Like, how did that shape you as a person that you had to put it in a book for other people to recognize the characters as themselves? And then he got his ass beat. Yes, like, because the dude that was his best friend is like a football player. He was like famous and shit, sort of. If the press had got a hold of that and realized who, like, it's a lot of things. And so it's kind of like you got to sit and really reflect. Is this thing that wasn't done towards me, but affected me, a private matter that the person I'm talking about, it would harm the person I'm talking about? I'm just saying, just think before you include people's stories into your stuff. And I often try to have to hold myself back. That's why I just use my own stories. And then sometimes I'll say clients, like multiple people have told me the same thing. So nobody can pinpoint like, oh, you're talking about me. No, multiple. You ain't the only person that got the same story, honey bunches. So can't nobody really tell who I'm talking about. So, I can see why Cassie was mad. She's being traumatized currently by Nate, and she's in her worst space, and her type of crazy is not tolerated because she is lashing out all over the place. She's uncontrollable, and she's easily triggered. And she's not on drugs or nothing. She just is very emotional at this point in time and easily triggered, and can't nobody handle it. They don't care at this point because she's doing things that can be deemed as foul. And so it's sad. It's sad because then it's like leading her down this road of, like I said in my last video, she could end up getting tricked out on the street by some pimp because she wanted love. And this shit could have been prevented. Everybody else in this show is finding their way home. They way out of this shit. Cassie over here drowning, and y'all looking at her like, well, this bitch crazy. She fucked her best friend's ex-boyfriend or whatever. And I'm just like, but all of this is falling apart because of one nigga. So who is the problem here? The one nigga that is deteriorating everyone's lives, or this girl over here who's having an emotional breakdown? But yeah, she shouldn't have crashed the stage though. It was a good little play though. It was a good little play. And then Maddie ass, who is fed up at seeing Cassie just breathe and live, jumps on stage and they started fighting. They tussling in the hallway and screaming and yelling at each other and whatever. And then we get to see a little glimpse of Cassie and Maddie in the bathroom.
Nate broke up with me before I even went on that stage. Don't worry. This is just the beginning.
Cat, and then they got this extra little friend that barely ever talks, and I don't know her name. That's just around, and I'm just like, I hope she gets her big break because she be around all the time as one of the little friends, but barely ever get to talk or say anything or do nothing. I'm just like, well, she there. I hope she, I don't know her fucking name. And so they in the bathroom, and Cassie's just like, and you know what's funny? Nate broke up with me before the play even ended, or whatever the fuck she said. And Maddie just looked at her and smirked, and she's just like, girl, this is only the beginning. And I was just like, yes, honey, Maddie is free. Maddie said, I's free now. Ain't nobody, she just wanted to be a little ass before she could be fully free, because she was more mad at her best friend. Because after Nate put that gun up to his head and then hovered over her, I think she was done with him. I think her feelings were hurt about her best friend, and she just needed to get one good ass beaten in. beat her ass real good before she could just let it go. She was just like, girl, this is just the beginning. He'll be back. And then Cassie just looking shell shocked in the face, one tear going down there, like, oh, what am I a part of? You're a part of a parasite, honey. He will be back, trust. He'll be back to Cassie. Probably gonna be back to Jules. We won't know because the next season is until 2023 or 2024. Some date far in the future. Hopefully the World War III doesn't come and destroy everything so we don't get a season 3. I hope not. But Cassie out here, you know, she falling apart, and that's how we leave her. I feel like the ending to this show was some bullshit. A lot of people said it was some bullshit. I feel like this episode just left a bunch of questions. Nothing really ended, and we still didn't get a sight or sound of that white woman. But so at Fez's house, segue at Fez's house, he's getting ready to go see Lexi's play. Snitch is over here about to snitch, and then Heroin Chic, brave as she wants to be, drops the glass and then motions to Fez that he needs to be quiet because Snitch is over here asking a bunch of bullshit ass questions. So Fez just sitting there knocking his head up against the wall like, oh shit, the police outside, I don't know what to do, nigga. And my thing is, why didn't they wire that nigga up? Why is he using his cell phone to record shit? Whatever, girl. So anyways, once Fez sees Heroin Chic stand up, or no, once Ash sees Heroin Chic stand up and see her face, and he looking at Fez's face, he start to get up. Heroin Chic is over here trying to answer Snitch questions like, isn't Lori the drug dealer that lives on 888-24 5th Street the one that killed Mouse? She trying to snitch on the drug dealer bitch. And I'm just like, is this why Rue got to live to the end of the school semester and we never saw that bitch again? I need y'all to wrap things up or it makes sense. It's not Game of Thrones the last season, but it's still like, no, that doesn't make sense. You see, this is what happens when people that ain't from the hood be telling stories that graze the hood, and then you're just like, that doesn't make sense that she would just forget about this bitch. She has informants at her fucking place. She has drug dealers and people that protect her at her place. Why wouldn't she send some niggas from jail to... But this ain't one of them type of shows. This is not a hood show. This is not even, it ain't even a black show. And I'm, like I said, I'm not mad about it. We don't need no more holiday hearts. I don't give a fuck. And so Ash catch him, come up behind Snitch and stab this nigga in the neck. And Fez is just like, no, Ash. Ash don't care. Ash is conduct disorder on his way to antisocial. He ain't thinking about nothing but the goal. The goal is to stay alive. That is the main goal. And you can see the childness in his face after he stabs him. For a quick second you can see the facade pass and you can see the shock of a child, and then he goes and Fez tries to save Ash's little ass, telling him, just say that I did it, just hide somewhere and did it. Ash ain't listening to Fez. He go get the guns out the laundry machine and go barricade himself in the bathroom. Fez, I'm mixing up their names, girl. Fez trying to knock on the door. Get out the bathroom, Ash. Get out. And the police come in and get Fez on the floor. Ash starts shooting at the fucking police. I'm just like, girl. And then they shooting back and forth. He hiding in the bathtub. Bathtubs they say you're supposed to get in the bathtub when there's an earthquake too. Like, that shit protected that little nigga. He got out the bathtub. The police opened the door and he shot that motherfucker in the shoulder. I was like, dadgummit, he done killed and or injured a police officer. So anyways, then we see the scope on Ash. Ash looking at it as it goes up his body to his forehead. You know, I feel like they could have given him one more, like, put the gun down before they shot him, but they shot him. I don't know if they killed him. I don't know. The last place we saw the scope was at his forehead. So I hope little Ash ain't dead. But at the same time, he's just a wild card. And for a character, if we gonna keep Fez on, I don't think we can keep Fez with Ash. Because Ash just be doing shit. He like Terrence Howard and Get Rich or Die Trying. You know, just all over the fucking place.
See, it's like, man, a motherfucker fidgeting in your car. You shoot first and you ask questions.
Shoot?
You shoot first and you ask questions later.
You just met him.
Gotta sit down and talk to your ass before we do a heist. Gotta keep an eye on you because you be doing wild shit outside of the fucking plan. All this shit.
Man, I'm right about him. I'm always right. It's like when I'm right, I'm right. And when I'm wrong, I could have been right. So I'm still right because I could have been wrong.
So he may not be bad. I'm not that upset about it. I mean, the child in real life ain't dead. So, you know, I mean, Ash was a cool little character. He was a little hard ass, but I was just like, nah, nigga. Hard head, make a soft ass. There you go. So anyways, last we see of Fez, he being carried off, arrested and shit. So I was wrong about this. I mean, I was right that Ash was gonna kill that nigga, but I didn't know the police were right outside because usually they put a wire on you. At least on the police shows and what I've seen, they don't let you go in there with your cell phone on. So I didn't know the police were actually outside. I thought he was just recording on his cell phone and that he was gonna take it to the police. I didn't fucking know. So anyways, Lexi is shell-shocked at everything that happened at the place. She's sitting off crying. And here come her little dark-skinned girl, black girl stagehand doing her little magical Negro thing to encourage her to get the fuck up and let's go. That's what it felt like. I don't care. That's what it felt like. I don't care. So she get back and finish the play. Nate is out here speeding with a gun. We don't know where the fuck he going at first. And then he ends up at his dad's shop. His dad is up in there with a bunch of bitches and niggas and trans folks and talking and fucking around and doing all this other shit. And then Nate walks up in there and he's talking about how when he saw his dad's video at the age of 11, he started having nightmares about his dad raping him. And I was just like, you know what? I feel like that's valid. And here's why. Because if you are an easily aroused child and you don't know what the arousal feeling is, and then something that's toxic triggers that arousal feeling, you're going to feel weird about sex for a long time. Even if you're not easily aroused, if something toxic triggers arousal in you, you're going to have a negative relationship with sex for a long time. Even if like your clothes graze you the wrong way and you're just starting to grow breasts and you feel something and you're just like, what is that feeling? That's weird. That's why you got to let your kids kind of explore that part of themselves on their own, and then they can come and like ask you questions, or you can just give them the base talk about like sexuality and hormones and puberty and all that other stuff, and then you just kind of let them explore that shit on their own so they can figure it out and then be open to questions about it and things like that. Because when you have an arousal feeling, it's hard to explain to a child. I mean, not really. It's just you have to know what's happening in the child and why they're acting that way in order to explain it. And sometimes people don't realize, like, oh, my child masturbates a lot because they have a high libido. Not because they've been molested or anything's happened to them. It's just they have a high libido, and I need to be talking to them about these things like arousal and hormones and why your body feels extra aroused at things. So I think Nate became aroused when he saw his dad's videos, but his brain was like, I don't want, this is gross. But his body, you know, he probably sat there and saw a few of them videos, saw them for a few hours and shit. His body became aroused, and then he started having nightmares about his dad raping him. And maybe he also may have thought that his dad wanted to have sex with him or something. Or maybe he thought that he may have wanted to have sex with his dad, and that's why he got the response that he got. That's what he connected to. Like, am I aroused because I want to have sex with my dad? What's happening? An 11-year-old's brain, that's the connections you make when you get aroused by shit that's toxic like that. That's why, really young kids shouldn't really be watching porn and shit like that. Like, they'll sneak off and explore and shit like that, but they shouldn't be like just glued to porn, because that is not going to give you a good idea of sexuality and arousal. That's not going to give you a positive idea of what that is. You have to kind of explore your body on your own, and then ask your mommy and daddy questions. Like, if you have that type of relationship with them, I caution Googling, because Googling some things about arousal will bring up other things that are toxic. It's a slippery slope. So if you're aroused at an age where you don't understand sex by toxic things, you will relate to sex in a toxic way. How he uses sex and things to manipulate Maddie and Cassie. He even told his dad, he was like, I feel like the two things, that one thing we have in common is we like to hurt people and we don't care. We enjoy hurting people. And I feel like he was vulnerable with his dad too. That's why dad told them niggas to leave. He was like, no, y'all need to leave. Like, I didn't know that I was affecting my child this way. Like, basically he told his dad he was affected by those videos in the same way a kid would be if he was molested. And he grew up with a fucked up connection with sex and doesn't understand it. So who knows what his sexual orientation is? First, he has to get through the trauma of that fucked up connection to sex that he has. Because now he's hoarding penis pictures on his phone. Sorry. I don't know why I laugh. He's hoarding penis pictures on his phone and then angry masturbating. Like, penises. Like, you start to angry masturbate and do shit like that because you become aroused by something that you hate. Like, does that make sense? That's why I think, like, a lot of men on the down low, not all of them, because people are closeted because this world is trash, but a lot of men on the down low are doing what's called a compulsion to repeat trauma. That's where you have this compulsion to self-soothe when you get overwhelmed in a way that resembles your past trauma. And when it's sexual trauma, well, if you were molested by a man, you may want to, have sex with men, but logically your brain is like, I don't like this. I'm just doing this to get off so that feeling in my body will go away, because I don't understand it, because I don't talk about it, I don't go to therapy, I don't work through it. And so that's probably why a lot of the people on the down low be talking about they not gay, because logically they don't feel gay, and they actually feel very disgusted by the actions that they're doing, but they feel that they have to do based off of this compulsion. Because what happens when you get molested or even just experience sex in a toxic way as a child, is that the coping skill for the child, because they don't have the words to explain what's happening to them, the coping skill for the child is to masturbate. That's why, like, when you see kids that masturbate a lot, the first question is like, who's touched this child? Because where did they learn that from? Is to masturbate, because the orgasm becomes a self-soothing mechanism. And then that can follow you into adulthood where, you're like promiscuous and things like that. And that's why promiscuity is like a symptom of molestation or whatever. And so that could be happening to Nate. That's probably what's happening with Nate, is that he's angry masturbating, angry looking at penises, angry like thinking he's gay or something. And he might not be gay. He might just be repeating trauma that he built on, that was built based off watching multitudes of them videos of his dad fucking niggas and trans folks and shit. And it's like, the mind is a very interesting place. Doesn't excuse that he's an asshole that likes to manipulate people for his own personal pleasure, though. He admitted to that when he told his dad that. So, no, because at some point, and this goes for Cassie too, But, you know, I feel like Cassie's been doing it to herself. So at some point, when you realize that the thing that you're doing is causing more problems in your life, then that's the point to stop and be like, I may need help with this because I keep doing this thing and it's not happening. It's hard for kids, but I give Cassie leeway because it hasn't affected anybody else up until the play. Like Maddie, Maddie didn't really know about that shit and they weren't together. So it's like Maddie knew about it in the past week. Otherwise, Maddie been chilling trying to get Nate back. So it didn't affect anybody else. But with Nate, it constantly affects other people. And then he plans in this structured way the downfall of people. Like that shit he did to Jules was diabolical. You spent months pretending to be somebody else. I don't care if he said that was him, that was all real and shit. The nigga probably lying. He said he threw away her tape and stuff too, and that was the last copy of it. But then he pulled out that the little flash drive and said everything is on it. Like, I mean, we're not sure if Jules' video is on there, but he's probably getting arrested for, you know, filming people without their knowledge and also like child rape or whatever too. I'm just saying. So he says a lot of things that aren't true. So, you know, it doesn't excuse it. It's diabolical. You plan out how to hurt people. Cassie over here just reacting to her emotions and shit. She just wants to be in love and be loved, and she's just frantically trying to be loved and shit. So I can't even put them together as like two evil people. Cassie ain't evil. She just sad. Nate evil. Something wrong with him. You don't just plan out how to hurt somebody and then not be evil. I don't care. Even Ash is more calculated when it comes to money, but then emotional when it comes to like violence against people he cares about. So he's more impulsive, but he's violent and like he kills people and he started shooting at the police and shit. So he fucked up too, but he doesn't actively start shit with people. Like Nate started shit with Jules. Nate starts shit with Maddie. Nate starts shit with Cassie. Ash doesn't do that. Ash reacts when you fuck with him. You fuck with Ash, Ash comes after you. He doesn't give a fuck. That's different. People that aren't doing anything to Nate, bothering him. Jules was walking around minding her own business. She doesn't care about his dad. He was just one of the multitudes that she fucked. Nate planned that out and came after that bitch. See, no, when you're actively hurting people, I have to side eye you like something's wrong. You plan to hurt this person because it made you feel good to hurt them. That's the difference between Nate and every motherfucking body else in this show. There you go. Hopefully that makes sense. If it don't, oh well. Nate needs to know better hurting people on purpose. Cassie, she needs to know better too, but she's so emotional and shit. It's just like, can't nothing get through that emotional fog. She's just all over the place and shit. She may need some meds or something. She needs to see a psychiatrist. She needs to see a psychiatrist to help calm down a lot of them emotions that just be up and down like that. We call them label when they're up and down like a roller coaster like that in an almost uncontrolled way. Like she just explodes and it's just like, really, girl, I need you to stop. But anyway, so yeah. Nate had this little flash drive with his dad. He's all like, see, it's not fair that you get to be happy and we don't. That man ain't happy. That man ain't never gonna be happy. That man thought he was gonna go and have orgies for the rest of his life and be happy. Nigga, you have kids. You're not just gonna have orgies and forget your children. Like your emotions were not gonna kick in. Like, narcissists still have empathy. They just shove it down and ignore it. Sociopaths barely feel any emotions beyond anything extreme like anger or horniness. So if you still have empathy, you can still be made to feel guilty. It just takes a little bit more work. When they said that shit about them dreams, that shit shocked him because he's not a child molester, not knowingly, because I don't think he knew Jules wasn't a child. Jules had a fake ID, I think. So he's not knowingly a child molester. So that shit fucked him. He was like, wait a minute. I never touched. She probably went back on all the times that he wrestled with his son and tackled him in football and all this random shit he would do with his child and be like, oh, did he think I was trying to touch him? Did he think I was... So that fucked his dad up. So Nate called the police, and the police came and arrested that nigga. So I'm guessing he's being arrested on, filming people without their knowledge and most likely molesting a child. Because I think Nate lied about that copy of the disc. I do. Yes. So anyways, that's what Nate. The mind is interesting. You can just break Nate apart into little pieces and just be looking at it and still not know enough sometimes, And so I'm glad he was vulnerable though and told his dad the dreams and all this other stuff, so he wasn't molested. Sometimes if you have a disruption in your in your libido growth, that can fuck up how you view sex. And there you go. There you fucking go. Especially if you see your parent fucking random people over and over again on video and you just sit there and watch it all for hours. Fuck up your libido growth trajectory around sex and your body and all that other stuff and what you like and what you don't like. It's like being made to sit and watch, like, if you're gay, watch heterosexual porn for hours. Or if you're straight, watch gay porn for hours. Like, you're not gay though, but you're getting aroused. Well, it's naked bodies gyrating and touching each other. So, your body is probably going to react to that if you're sitting there for hours. But kids don't realize that. Kids are internal. They believe that if there's developmental periods, like I always talk about, where kids don't recognize how other people are separate from them. So they're constantly self-focused. So you see some shit like that for hours and you get, aroused. You're going to think that there's something in me like this. What's wrong with me? I hate myself now. And it's like, no, honey bunches. You just watch some bodies gyrate for a few hours, and so you started getting aroused by it because that's what your body does. It doesn't mean that you're gay or that you like this or whatever. So I think Nate is the true definition of confusion of what he is and what he wants. Yep. So anyways, that's Nate. That's Fez. Rue. So Rue is feeling herself in this play. She's seeing herself outside of herself. It's like when I do these videos and I watch them back and I see myself, sometimes I feel really good, like that was a funny joke, I'm a bad bitch. And sometimes be like, I need to get that tighter, like that doesn't I slurred a little bit too much over that word. It's like you're seeing like yourself outside of you instead of the projection that your mind creates. And then you can think of it from a different perspective depending on how deep you are in your self-hatred. Now, if you hate yourself a lot, like Cassie does, you're going to deteriorate into nothingness in your emotions and try to wreck everything to make it stop. Rue, on the other hand, she's introspective. She can really kind of process through like, okay, I'm not a bad person. I'm taking drugs to like numb this pain inside of me from my dad dying. And I knew that, but it's more solid and concrete now that I can see it. Like, oh, okay. And so she is crying after the play and whatever. She's just thinking about how it's affected her. I think she was crying a little bit too. Jules sees her and comes over and tries basically to get back with her. Oh wait, earlier on she had this little moment with Elliot where she basically told him she forgives him for telling. And Elliot asks if they can be friends, and he sings her this little love song ballad, whatever the fuck it is. And she's just like, you said yourself we're two different people and we don't need to be around each other. And he was all like, I know, but still, like, can we just be friends? And she's like, I think that was a no. I think what Rue is doing is focusing completely on herself. Like they said in the little after part of the show, that 13 minutes that I thought that they just added extra pieces to the show, but no, it was only an hour. Fuck you guys, because you usually do that in a separate video. You don't add an extra 13 minutes to the episode, making motherfuckers think, oh, they added a little extra because it's the last episode. Okay, go off. So Jules is coming over. She's like, Rue, I love you and I miss you. And Rue gives her little fuckboy forehead kiss. Yes. And then walks off, you know. But I don't think it was a fuckboy forehead kiss. I like to call it that because that's what it looked like. Because them niggas be kissing you on your forehead, then walking the fuck off all the time. It's trash. But no, she is having an amicable ending with Jules. She sees Jules as her first love. And she's having this ending because I think it's just like in a little featurette that they had before this season for Rue, where, what's his name? Eli asked the lady at the diner, he was like, how would you have maintain a relationship while trying to get sober? And the lady was just like, well, what would I be doing, maintaining a relationship or getting sober? Because you can't do both at the same time, and then you got to focus on yourself.
I had to not be in a relationship so that I could focus on my sobriety.
So I think Rue is doing that. I think she is just focusing on herself. She can't handle a relationship right now. She's being honest with herself. She's been sober for a while now. She's being honest with herself. I can't handle a relationship. I can't handle a friendship with someone who's still doing drugs, i.e. Elliot. So I am going to really try to focus on myself, because she was talking to, to Lexi in the play or whatever, talking about how, she can't live like this no more with this grief inside of her. Like, she can't go on like that. And she got to work through that shit and let it the fuck go. And you don't let grief go. You just settle into it. It's just like, I don't know. That's why I believe in afterlife and stuff. I don't know how atheists do it. God bless them. I have no judgment for them. But I'm just like, I can't be sitting around not believing that the people that I care about that died ain't doing nothing afterwards. You know what I mean? That ain't for me. And my evidence is it's too many ghost stories in this motherfucker, all the way back into ancient times, for every one of these motherfuckers to be lying. Every single. You can Google ghost stories on YouTube. Millions of videos just pop up, and a lot of them videos got 2 or 3 views. Ain't nobody doing this to get views. They doing it because some shit happens. So if there's ghosts, then there's an afterlife. That's my logic. You don't have to go with it. You don't have to go with it. Whatever you believe that keeps your heart whole. I like to tell my clients that don't believe in afterlife, well, they go back into the soil. This is science. They go back into the soil and they feed the earth, and now your family member is part of a tree. It's magical. I think that's magical too. See, it's a magical thing. Part of growing the earth and energy back into the earth and stuff to help you thrive and whatever. Go somewhere, shit. And so, she got to work through that shit and get and settle into that. Settle into there is something out there that he's still there. Just like when he said, when you close your eyes and remember me, I'll be there. I'll be there. And so even during the play, she at the end of it, she closed her eyes and thought of her dad. That's some mindfulness shit. And so, I think Rue is just letting go of the distractions in her life so that she can focus on her own healing. Because when she took the drugs, she was taking the drugs to be stable. A part of it, not all of it, was so that she could be stable in this relationship she had growing with Jules. But then she got to the point where she can't even have an orgasm. You're like, well, what? You're not going to know. And then she tried to maintain school and friendships with, girl, no. No, girl. So, how we end this? I think we end this with, Rue walking out to school talking about she need to focus on herself. She said some poetic line, and she's like, I need to focus on me, and I need to make the right choices, and maybe I am a good person if I'm trying to be a good person. I was like, yes, girl, vibes. Because if you're trying, then let's imagine if Nate tried. Even though he has thoughts inside of his head of killing everybody like Ted Bundy did, he said, I'm not going to listen to those thoughts. I'm going to do better. I'm going to go to therapy. I'm going to work through those videos that I saw of my dad. I'm going to do magical things. Eventually, over time, he probably would heal from that shit. And maybe that voice inside of his mind, that feeling inside of him to just do hurtful things, would just start to shrink because he's actively saying, I'm gonna go get help and do better. Yeah. So if you try and you keep trying, the trying turns into a pattern, and the pattern turns into a do. You're doing. Takes time and patience with yourself, but it works. I think so. And most people, it works. So yeah, that was season 8, season 2 of Euphoria. It's been renewed for 3 or 4 more a season 3 and a season 4. See, straighten it up, tighten it up, girl. And it's not supposed to come out until 2024. That's some bullshit. What all do they gotta film in 2 years? It's like waiting for the Avatar movie, the sequel. They keep saying it's coming out. They keep saying it's finished. And the pandemic happened. And then it's like, okay, so y'all not finished? Y'all not doing the Avatar sequel? Is it not happening? Like, these people are getting older. Like, you can CGI some folks, but damn, I mean, like, fuck it. They can CGI motherfuckers, so who knows? I want to see the second Avatar. That shit was fun. Still talking about Avatar. But yeah, what y'all think gonna happen in season 3? I think I saw this meme that said Nate gonna go after Jules. Most likely. Jules is single. Nate is single. I mean, Cassie hovering in the background, but that's his other supply. Cassie, like the weak will supply, the supply that he thought he wanted, because she does everything he says. Then he realized that I'm still unhappy even with a robot. This robot didn't fix my happiness. I'm gonna punish this robot then, since she's here. And that's where Nate is with that. Nate's probably gonna go after Jules, who talks back a little bit, but probably will do everything she tells him to do, or he tells her to do. Just like Maddie. Maddie talked back, but Maddie got away though. Maddie was done after that gun incident. She was like, girl. She told Cassie, she was like, girl, this is just the beginning, girl. This is not the end for you. This is maybe, I don't know. Cassie need therapy. That's all I can say about Cassie. Like, someone like that would go off if they see their story in front of everybody else. Especially if they lost their little blankie, their little narcissistic boyfriend. That's their blankie. That's the thing to hold on to and it's gone now, or it's seemingly gone. It's not really gone. They never let you go because they're enmeshed with you. They feel like you're their object now. You're their toy. They can do whatever they want with you to feel better. So if their toy is gone and they don't have access to it, that's when they wild the fuck out. But if they have access to their toy, they can do what they want with their toy, then it's fine. Everything is fine, wonderful, magical. So I think that's probably going to happen. He's going to have 2 supplies again. He's going to have Jules and he's going to have Cassie occasionally. Just like when he was with Maddie and he was fucking around with Jules online emotionally. Yes. It seems like he needs 2 different supplies at the same time at this point. Yes. And Rue, hopefully she stays sober. And why are we just not tightening up around this white woman? So you thought that Heroin Chic basically telling the cops about Lori is going to be enough. You feel like that is I mean, I guess we can go into the 3rd season and there'll be more, but what if there's no 3rd season? You could at least have like shown a scene of her plotting and planning so we can kind of know like, oh, okay, so Lori is going to come after Rue, or at least have her get, I can't even say have her die, because it's like, that is a plot point that will be fun to watch and you're ruining it by just having her get arrested, supposedly. Why wouldn't she lie to the police? Why wouldn't this all-American Karen know how to lie and manipulate the police? She's hobbling around. They have to have proof that she sells drugs. They have to have proof that she sells drugs. They can't just go off the word of Heroin Chic. No, honey. And I don't know how Heroin Chic will do snitching directly to the police about this bitch. Yes, there needs to be more here, and y'all just like, this is a, you just left it in like episode 6 or 5 or whatever episode that was, where she slipped this bitch morphine and shit. Like, I just want there to be more about Lori coming after this bitch. Like, you just gonna let her off the hook like that? Like, there are so many people in the hood that are being murdered and you gonna let her off a hook in a way that makes absolutely no sense. There's plot holes. I didn't like this ending. It's not enough. And then to say that we're not going to see another season, I'm just going to let it go, though, because I feel like it's COVID and maybe they didn't have time to film enough. Maybe they just rushed it, the end anyways, or something happened. Maybe somebody got pregnant. I don't fucking know. But I'm trying to be nice because they said they're renewing it for a season 3 and a season 4. So there's time to fix things, but then they had the audacity to say season 3 wasn't going to be till 2024. Oh God, I'm gonna be like 37 in 20. Oh God, y'all just out here fucking with me. Y'all just out here fucking. That's all I see. I see niggas fucking with me. It's about me and my feelings. But yes, I don't know what I'm gonna do next. Oh yeah, I do. So I want to do the half season of Abbott Elementary because it's on hiatus for like a few weeks. So I'm gonna see, because Insecure, that was like 5 seasons of show episodes and shit that I had to watch. Abbott Elementary is only like 8 episodes, so it shouldn't be as long, because the Insecure video was like 2 hours and shit. Y'all should watch it. I think I did a decent job of kind of like putting all that shit together. I don't know. Yes. Insecure the Evolution. Y'all should watch it. But yeah, I mean, like, I think I'm gonna do Abbott because it's so good. Kenta Burns, what's her name? She's so amazing. I've been watching her ever since her He Got Money days.
A large. You got money. He got money. Get it all for him.
Yes, bitch. She's amazing. I love it. I love how it represents everything that, you know, people experience in schools. Like, I used to be a school-based therapist, so I'll be going up in schools all the time, dealing with teachers and principals and counselors and talking to them and helping the students and working with parents and shit like that. So vibes, and also triggering, but still good. So I'm probably going to do that next because I really like that show, and I like Kenta. Oh, y'all know who I'm talking about. But yeah, let me know, what do you guys think will happen in season 3? What do you hope will happen in season 3? And I hope you like this review. So yeah, later days.